ukumhlangano obalekile ama interviews niyazi la kwa Khongolose kunalento ebizwa interview before bakuthumele parliament or Gauteng legislature ubusy so ifakile apology yakhe mina so apologies kia MEC kia Honorable Adams kia Honorable Ramudipo bekakhona kusukela ekseni untate ubaba Ramudipo ohamba manje ngoba khona umhlangano aphuthuma kuwona yeah so ke manje sizocela ke will ask honorable members to help us to confirm move for the adoption of the apologies confirm it move for the adoption and yeah kanjalo nje ngoba lingekho lingelunga nami ke ngizozama ukusekela ke proposal. Dos Santos.
Thank you very much, Chair. Good afternoon to all the stakeholders present. I move.
Nami ngiyasekela ngoba sisele sodwa no baba Makhubela uChief Whip uyile kule interview engikhuluma ngayo. So inhloso yalomhlangano ukuthi sinazise kanye simbriefe ngombiko oyelana ne-mandate kanye umsebenzi we Gauteng Provincial Legislature kanye ne-Portfolio Committee bangicelile ngingayifaki le item ngivele ngiye straight kulokuzana good department because mele sisho ukuthi ngomhla ka-3 of August 2022 i-committee researcher ke uyena ubaba Makhura ke loyo opresente i-report ama-proposal nombiko adoptwe i-portfolio committee ngokubhekisisa ukuthi udaba lwe-ICT lu implementwa kanjani mayelana ne-e-learning program yase Gauteng. E-learning ile siza ke ukuze i-platform esiza abazali bethu nabantwana or ba-apply ezikolweni and futhi ngomhla ka-25 July 2022 i-department ye-education ke ipresentile i-report and ebhekane Kagiso Secondary School la sike savakashela khona Tutopili Secondary School, Pumlong Secondary School, Dr. Eric Gwala School, and as well as Penneville Primary School, Shikong Secondary School. So bagit, I must say that okubalekile kwamanje ukuthi leyo background sishi sicele ke i-department ukuthi nazi ukuthi u-MEC nangangekho mele umuntu omele a represent i-department ke uyena acting HOD ubaba uRamuntla uye ke ezomnikeza intambo sikwazi ukubona ukuthi lokho kubheka kwethu ku-information and communication technology on e-learning program in Gauteng ama recommendation akhona ahamba kanjani. Kubalekile ukuthi size silaleleni ukuthi bathini. Ubaba ke uHOD thuba lakho mhlonishwa.
Siyabonga tatane Munyai.
Kana bua ka Setswana ba itse Setswana ba bantsi.
Ke a leboha tatane Munyai, ngiyabonga. Sanibonani. Dumela. Hoye dag, hoye good day. My name is Rufus Mutlana, the acting HOD for the Department of Education in Gauteng. I'm standing here leading the delegation of officials from the department. We've got Deputy Director Generals in the meeting. We've got Chief Directors, we've got Directors, and we've got officials from the 6 branches within the department, the GCRA, the Planning Unit, the Curriculum Unit, the Educational Support Unit, and the Corporate Services Unit. But we also have representation from the district. We appreciate it, Honorable Chairperson, that the Portfolio Committee takes us around in the province so that there's visibility of the department and the Portfolio Committee in all the districts. And today we're very privileged and excited that we managed to choose this district, Gauteng West, as a location for this particular meeting. And we are looking forward to the engagements. I must say, Chairperson, before I hand over to my presenter, our Chief Director for School ICT, Mr. Mokhoroshi, that this particular topic which the Portfolio Committee has selected for us to share with the community today is a very topical subject, which as a province of Gauteng, we are leading nationally because we are perceived as Gauteng as a leading province on ICT and technology and automation and things which are linked to innovation. The program of ICT in schools in this particular department, we started with it in the 5th administration. And we have been rolling it out since the 5th administration, even during this 6th administration, and we are committed in rolling it out in the 7th administration, just to commit upfront, Chairperson. And this particular program, over and above being seen as a paperless classroom program, is a program which drives transformation and modernization in our schools and in our province. It propels our learners to perform better because, as you know, that our young people are more in technology than in the olden ways of learning through chalk and board and paper. They get excited when you give them gadgets. They want to learn more, they explore more, they spend more hours on learning on gadgets than they would have done so in learning from books. We also introduced this particular program to empower our teachers and also to make sure that our teachers are leading in innovation and they can teach in a modern way. Unlike those olden ways where you and me or some of us learn through chalk and board, where we had to clean the chalkboard, and OHS compliance was non-existent given the fact that the whole day you'll be breathing that dust from the chalk. And as a province, we are trying to move away from that particular situation of the duster and the chalkboard. It also enhancing our innovation and cost-saving measures on what we call LTSM, learning and teaching material in our schools, because we believe that over time, as we introduce gadgets in our schools, we will be able to save and ensure that our learners get more resources given the fact that they're using technology. We Chairperson and attendees, we also use this particular program of schools ICT as a kind of a tonic to encourage our schools to do better. Because we are saying that those schools which do better over a period of time, we will also identify them and put them in our planning process to ensure that they become part and parcel of the rollout of the ICT programs in our schools. Without further ado, Chairperson, allow me to allow Ntate Mokgoroshi to lead us on this particular presentation, which looks at an assessment of provisioning of ICT and e-learning programs in the Gauteng province since the fifth administration to date. The presentation will be covering all the relevant details regarding the subject. Through you, Chairperson, Honorable Chairperson, I would like to hand over to our Chief Director to lead us.
I was sent a text that some did not hear what I said, but I can't go to the opening remarks because the rest of the things, Chief Director will deal with them. But I must say that before I could give to our Chief Director, you know, the issues relating to information, communication technology and e-learning, these contribute to access to the quality of education, and it plays a significant benefit to help us, to help our learners to access education, educational resource. Remember, they put even some of the e-books on the iPad to some degree. The smart board, everything, any tools that they help the teachers to assist. So I must say that the students are or the learners are the beneficial of these programs, and the teachers alike. And I'm saying it is very imperative that e-learning platform in our province, it's one of the critical beacon of hope to help as an enabler and a driver to make sure that our learners are even admitted at schools. So one of the key things, you know, that I don't want to bother you with is that e-learning platforms are always utilized as adaptive learning algorithms that are embedded into solution to make sure that those information that you plug on, it helps you to translate to what is required in the much more simplified way. The department went way above and beyond our expectations to address the issues of the robotics at schools, some school of specialization. I know Saibono also do this, coding, but critical, this system we're talking about, or the Chief Director is about to apply, is the enabling for all of us. Without it, the online platform for e-learning, it's collapsed. Thank you very much, HOD, and I'm sure as you are directed, the Chief Director, you may proceed, please. I apologize for that. I was trying to respond a little bit to the message that came through to me. Thank you.
No, thank you very much, Chair. I was taught that it's insubordination to speak after your leader or your manager. So let me apologize in advance, acting HOD. That is not insubordination, but I've been given this responsibility to come and present what we really term a progress indication of some sort on the ICT program. It might not stretch as far back as what the acting HOD has indicated in terms of the fifth administration, but it gives a sense as to the milestones that we have been able to achieve thus far. This Chairperson slide just indicates the areas, table of contents areas that we're going to go through. I will not bore yourself and members with this. This slide, Chair, indicates the program in numbers. If you have a question about progress that we have made in the program, this slide answers that. We have got 604 schools. It's now 605 with the addition of Mapenane. It's 604 schools that are currently benefiting from the program.
Sorry, are you connected to the screen?
Yes, I was told there. Yes.
Okay, so I was looking at that screen, so.
Okay. So it's 604 plus 1, which is Mapenane, which was recently added in this academic year. To date, we have enabled just over 8,200 classrooms with ICT, with various equipment. Just over 8,200 boards have been installed in classrooms across the province. 95,000 or over 95,000 learners have benefited in one form or the other out of this program. 194 schools have been connected with Gauteng broadband network connectivity. There are those schools that have got both wireless access network and local area network. There are schools that only have wide area network. And then there are those schools that also only have local area network. It's important to make this distinction, Chair, because there might be schools that are sitting here or other principals or members of SGB or SMTs at schools. When I reflect on these numbers, they would say, but we don't have some of these connectivity solutions. So that distinction is very important. We also have 18 self-provisioning schools that have invested resources to connect themselves and establish local area network. Lastly, Chair, we provide digital content in the form of ebooks, multimedia content, and supplementary content for all users. We provide it in two forms. It's both online and offline. Offline because we understand that when learners get home, they still need to have access to this information that we provide on the content platform. So this content platform sits as an image on the devices that we provide to the learners. What informs the implementation of ICT in the province? Again, I will not spend much time. It's just the implementation framework that we follow. We're informed by the National Development Plan, GGT 2030, this ICT strategy at the national level, and then the localized GDE priorities on education, priority on fourth industrial revolution, ICT, and e-learning. We were required to reflect on what our operating environment is, informed by the strategies that we, or rather the legislative framework that we operate within. Our strategy is informed by strategy number 2, which is promotion of quality education across all classrooms in 6 and outcome 6 of that strategy. What does that mean? It means that we will have to implement this program informed by the 6 strategies or pillars, as we would like to call them. The first one is connectivity, which is giving access to schools and learners and educators to internet. The second one is content, where we're providing digital and supplementary content and other electronic e-learning resources to schools. The third one is capacity building related to teacher development and training and provision of ICT skills. The fourth one is infrastructure, which is equipping schools with the relevant infrastructure for us to move in with ICT resources. The fifth one is around the type of support that we provide, technical support that we provide to schools related to the devices or infrastructure that we've given them. And then the sixth one is, of course, innovation. Having said all of this, what is the model financially that we operate within? We are funded obviously from within the fiscus against ring-fenced items. such as LTSM, but there's also the MST grant that is aligned to our ICT strategic objective. The infrastructure component obviously is funded out of the ECE. Teacher development budget, there's a directorate that runs the all teacher development courses that we implement within the program. Schools and the department explore possibilities of sustaining the running costs of this program through the allocation of the norms and standards. There are schools that have gone beyond what we have provided them in terms of the infrastructure that we have given them. There are self-provision in schools. At some point, we had also taken a decision to implement what we termed at the time, bring your own device policy. We also bid for funding from Treasury, but lastly, we approached the private sector to co-fund some of the programs that we implement. At the core of this program, Chair, is around provision of quality and equity in education. And there are three levers that assist us to achieve this. The first one is educators, with the two subcomponents there being development of the teachers and assistance that educators receive in teaching better in the classroom. The second one is around the learners, provisioning of access to learning material that we provide to the learners that seeks to engage them in an interactive and an adaptive manner. Provision of access to teaching, independent learning on the basis of the content platform that we provide, but also increase social cohesion in terms of the type of projects that they are being provided for, informed by the resources that we have. And as far as that establishment is concerned, this program assists us to enhance performance management in terms of learner and teacher transparency and analysis that we get from the content platform. The improvement of administration in the sense that timetabling as rolled out within the platform itself is far much easier. And lastly, we strengthen the core support that we provide to schools. The following two slides are just pictorials of what we have achieved. I'm not going to bore the chair and attendees with that. Having said all of this, where are we? We have already indicated that we have got 6 pillars that we operate from. Not going to go into that, but from the beginning of the project, of the rollout of the project, phase 1 was rolled out in what we termed at the time 5+2 schools. These were schools, 7 schools that we covered that included over 100 classrooms. These were completed. Phase 2, 3, and 4 were also completed, which included grade 12s in no-fee paying schools, grade 11s, and grade 11s and 12s of those schools that we would not have completed in phase 3. Phase 5 was to go into grade 10 township schools covering just over 3,000 classrooms. These were about 51-52% completed as things stand. Phase 6 of the program is the coverage of both grades 9 and 8 in township schools, once again covering just over 3,000 classrooms. These are planned for the current financial year and the next academic year. We will also cover the outstanding grade 10 classrooms. I need to spend a bit of time on grade 6 because there were gaps in the rollout of the program as things stand. There are schools, for instance, that only have got coverage from grade 10 all the way to grade 11. These are no fee and fee paying schools, and it was as a result of a flip in the strategy, in the rollout strategy that we adopted 2 years ago. Instead of starting from grade 12, we decided that we will start from grade 10 so that we extend the useful life of the devices that we provide to learners. So that's on the one end. On the other end, you have got schools of specialization that have been treated as full ICT schools. However, these schools of specialization were treated in the same manner as no fee and fee paying, because we started in grade 10 as well. Phase 7 obviously was the development of the content platform, which we are currently enhancing. This slide just indicates the priorities that the Premier has reflected upon, dating back to 2019 to 2024. I will not go into these because these are matters that we have already touched upon. The revised plan is the plan that I just reflected on. Instead of starting from grade 12, we're now starting at grade 10, going up in terms of learner device provision. This decision was largely based on cost saving, because we could not afford to procure on an annual basis the number of devices that we were, but we insisted on doing the cost saving measures. It was important for us to spend some time trying to look at the measures that we can implement to try and reduce cost. One of them was negotiating the ebook pricing model, which we kept at a third of the price of a textbook. I must indicate that we are doing extremely well in this aspect. We have amended the specifications to make of both the learner and teacher, both the learner and classroom device, to make it a bit cost effective. What are the interventions that we have brought in terms of teacher development? These are the 4 areas that, again, I will not spend too much time in them, that teacher development brings. The first area is around professional development that goes into technological knowledge, methodological approach, and teacher practice. The second one is around the learning experience in terms of orientation to productivity tools like MS Word, MS Excel, and so forth. Modeling on the use of the e-learning environments that we provide, inclusive of the content platform that we have. The third aspect is around developing educators in technology usage, the use of basic computer applications that come with these devices, and usage of virtual learning platforms and learning management systems. I'll come back to this much later on in the presentation. The last one is around cognitive outcomes in terms of comprehension and application by both learners and educators alike. As a form of an update, this slides just represent the work that we have done in terms of teacher development, the coverage that we have made. 16,000 educators have been touched by this program. Schools that have been supported, trained, is around 476 since the 5th administration. The ICT teacher professional training courses that were designed, or rather were designed to meet the critical and desired professional development needs that have been identified by our teacher development directorate together with Matthew Goniwe. There's a huge drive for us to move into the SIP space, for us to be able to provide it in an e fashion. This slide is just a graphical representation of the work, or rather of the achievements from the 5th administration to the 6th administration in terms of the number of teachers that have been trained against what the target was. Having said all of this, what is the impact and the benefits that we have seen out of the rollout of this program? They are listed there. It's the acceleration, obviously, of infrastructure refurbishments into schools, less administration that is a burden on the educators, but more teaching time in the classroom. Improvement of content and pedagogical knowledge. That's the biggest area that I think was impacted by the rollout of this program. Importantly, we have connected more townships than it has ever been done in the history of any rollout of ICT technology in the province and anywhere else in the country for usages of teaching and learning. Now, e-content is now available, or rather it's made available and bringing the much needed excitement into the classrooms at the beginning, and I'm sure it might still be the case now that the excitement or on the utilization of this technology brings about some level of improvement in terms of attendance. Just to skip over the benefits, once again, we're working towards the achievement of the goals of transformation, modernization, and reindustrialization, changing the face of township education through rollout of infrastructure, but also including ICT resources into the schools. We're also saying that one of the benefits is about bringing change in the classroom environment related to innovation, creativity, and excitement that this brings. Interactiveness in the classrooms and unlocking efficiency on the lessons, or rather on delivery of the lessons. Reduction in the LTSM spent from the short to the midterm. We want to argue, Chairperson, that we have been able to save the department money in this regard, illustrated by the as against the traditional textbooks. Again, this is the point that we're making earlier on, that we're also reducing costs related to exams, but we're stretching the useful life of devices. Instead of a device lasting a year or two, we're stretching it to last anything between 3 and 5 years. Specifically with regards to township infrastructure, we've already alluded to the fact that before we come into the classrooms, our infrastructure directorate, or rather chief directorate, comes in, refurbishes the classrooms for us to do the installations. These are the numbers that have been impacted by the rollout of the program. In terms of pedagogy, we want to argue that we have realized improved educational outcomes. At the beginning of the program in 2014-2015, we commissioned a longitudinal study that is meant to look into the performance of the learners directly as a result of their utilization of ICT resources. We are expecting the outcome of this study in due course. Here we're just reflecting again the type of support that we're providing to schools in terms of reporting on the functionality or lack thereof of the devices that we are giving them. Schools are aware of the logging or of the process to log calls insofar as ICT support is concerned. We're also saying that the effectiveness of that support, how many technicians do we have on the ground that are supporting schools in this regard. In the last 2-3 minutes, Chair, I just want to spend time on the next steps. With regards to the ICT work, the device work stream that we have already indicated that we have been, since 2 years ago, we have flipped the implementation model to start from grade 10 all the way to grade 12. However, we have taken a principled decision that SOS schools must be treated in the same manner as full ICT schools. There was a slight distinction between in the manner in which we were treating SOS schools. Although they attempt full ICT, but from the beginning of the next academic year, we will be rolling out from grade 8. We will be communicating this decision to the SOS schools in terms of the hardware that we'll be providing to the learners and the work that we have already started to do in this regard. This slide just reflects what the rollout and figures are for the current financial year. I will not go into this with regards to learner devices, the same as teacher devices, and the number of classroom devices that we intend to roll out to schools. With the content, as we've already indicated, through ebooks and multimedia digital content, we're increasing on an annual basis the subject content coverage with regards to newly sourced interactive content, and also enhancing the existing ones that we have on the content platform. On an annual basis, ongoing, we're providing onboarding and mediation in the schools that we are providing these ICT resources to. These are the targets that we have in terms of e-learning for the current financial year. Once again, I will not dwell much into all of this. We are planning to connect 150 schools to both GPN WAN and LAN. I must indicate that this is a process that sits with a sister department of eGov, but this is the target that we have given them, that 150 schools in the current financial year needs to be provided with the relevant connectivity resources. We are planning in the next academic year to roll out a learner management system. That's the one component that we are lagging behind if you compare us with other environments. But this is something that we are planning to do. This has got a huge impact in terms of the pedagogy in the classroom, or the learner experience in the classroom, because now every system. Once again, these are the targets in terms of connectivity. Chair. Currently, we are at the beginning stages of implementing a proof of concept of a virtual simulation machine. What will this simulation machine do? It will simulate both welding and spray painting. The focus now is on technical high schools, where we'll be rolling out these virtual reality machines to simulate the work that the learners should do. Assessment will also be done within these machines, with the introduction, of course, of an LMS system. In terms of the activities in preparation for the next academic year, Chair, this table just reflects the work that is currently happening and that is completed in terms of preparing both devices, content, and profiling for schools going into the next academic year. Currently, as we speak, there are teachers that are doing quality assurance for devices and the content that we provide to learners. This is the pictorial that was taken last week of educators busy with quality assurance. With every project comes challenges. Chairperson, this slide just indicates the nature and type of challenges that we have and the type of mitigations that we
Allow you to ask clarity-seeking question and comment. This is how we're going to do it. And before I start with that process, we're not going to allow the brainwave. If your hand was not up at the time we request them, so please, when you raise it, we're not going to consider you. And I know you will think we're suppressing you, because we would have opened up a democratic process for people to express their views. Now we're going to start. I will need some assistance, Mr. T. We are starting with that row. I want you to raise your hand. Then I'll just ask for the hands at all over. But let's start with that block. I'll come to this block, that block, and the last block. On raising hands alone. Please, on that block, I see the only one hand that side. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hands. That means you set the trends. We're not going to allow more than 5 hands per row. Okay, here, 1 hand, 2 hands. We have only 2 hands here. Let's proceed. Here, we have only 1, 2 hands, 3 hands. We're done. That side, 1, 2. We have 2 hands and we're done. Round 1. So I want all of you, please, to make a row, 1 row, so that it's clear that no one should ask for further questions. Because we've been here from 9 o'clock doing the work on other portfolio committees' business. Please, all of you that we have noted, please make a queue. Datekekana will advise you where to queue. Mhlakazi, itiba beti queue ngapha kule cala, okay? I'm asking that you must go that side, ne? Reakupa re liekakwa. Bobo not chilling for the hands, please. No, all of them, let them go that side, yeah. And I'm not going to accept extra person that did not raise their hands. Only those are the one that I don't know where you're going to. I want to put it though you are starting now. That's ill discipline. Uzama fraudulent humor. That okay. And if you don't go there, when you come later, we're not going to accept it. Yeah, we noted all the hands, and for each one hand, you'll speak not more than 3 minutes. 3 minutes, how is too much. We look at fetsa 1 minute. Agar waka ka connectivity ya ko dikolong, local area network. Lo utlwile, wireless net. Lo utlwile ka. Connectivity ko dikolong, le content, the e-books, education management systems. Lo utlwile ka. Ki sophistication ya ICT. Okay. Aru utlwehe, number 1, please. You will introduce yourself. Lo rutswa kae. Re tsebe hore even if it's a sector or whatever, please, you may start. Asi meeting wa politiki. Ra utlwana ka. Ki meeting wa portfolio committee ya education. We're dealing with the business of the tools that will help our learner to be better. And their education will meet the needs of the industries. La bona batla ka smart ID na le LED light. Into the serious. Yeah, Chief Director, I want to talk into serious. And Rwaka learning support LSTM. Yeah, those are the issues. Toban Tate, Krumam Klan.
Yes, good day, governors and everyone, all protocol reserved. Number 1, my name is Moeketsi Polo. I'm an REC
I
member.
forgot something. You can speak in your own language.
All right.
Rautwana, ne? Because akari English as yabo runa mara ina ikari pazamix. Yeah.
My name is Moeketsi Polo. I'm an REC member from Sidibeng National Association of School Governing Bodies. I've got 3 points that I need to raise today. Number 1, it seems from the presentation, farm schools are not considered. That's number 1. Number 2, my question will be, if they are considered, because I'm coming from one of the schools.
Our farm school are not considered on what?
I'm getting there, Chairman. I'm getting there, Chairperson. With regards to the presentation that was done when you were mentioning implementation, I'm coming from a farm school called Assured Secondary School, which has been producing 100% pass rate for the past 3 years. And it has been identified as a full ICT school. The sad part is that the same full ICT school does not have your simple telephone reception. So you ask yourself, how do you identify that school to be a full ICT school if by failure to have a simple network connectivity? That is number 1. Number 2, I am thinking at the back of my head, the department seems to have lots of money to just throw around. If they think that school to be a full ICT school on a private owned land, the infrastructure that is going to be installed for that school to be a full ICT school, in 3 or 5 years down the line, then the school needs to move from that area to a public land. So those costs, I believe, is a taxpayer's money. Training. That is number 2. Unless if maybe the government has lots of money to throw around. Educator support.
1 minute.
Yes.
How productively.
Chairperson, answer okay, now you cut my time. Educator support. The very same school I am talking about, the educators, only 30% of them understand or are familiar with ICT. 70% of them have got no idea of how to switch on a computer. Kindly justify that for me. Thank you.
Sorry. Okay, I appreciate what you said. Ne? No, the National School of Association Body is my organization. I'm one of the first founder of that organization. Libo Ntate, the late Bobo Mkwena, Libo Matakanye, we started that organization. So, no, it's fine. We'll speak about it the other day. Next speaker.
Lotshani ngekuyendlini athi kuthiwe mesikhulume wonke ama language people ya manje ngizokhulumela wona today. Well, I can say ukuthi angikho ku SGB mara ngibelonga kuma NGOs operate within the township. Buye Davidton igama ngomzakhe Jiyani. So what is happening la ngibelonga kuma organization I Davidton Heritage Society together ne Davidton Community Developing Forum. Sine challenge la people. We are talking about 11 official language, but what I see today is missing la. Angiboni indaba ukuthi we are promoting the 11 official language in our public schools. Ngoba ngibuye Davidton. Sikwazile ukuhlanganisa 8 ama language kuma public school. Ngoba recently ngo 2005 and 6 besifaka isiNdebele siphethu. Sese high school manje. But ama challenges ila ukuthi department does not support us. I department mayibona this thing ibona ngazuthi into ye game. Even the school teacher ofundisa isiNdebele. Cina seka decide this year ngoJune ukuthi mangabe kuyo celebrate this youth day. Ngono siyenze ibe something like a travel promotion. Ngoba ezikolweni mabathi bamix abantwana bofunda ilimi labo. Ngazuthi the parents on the department bathatha ngazuthi ukufunda ama African languages is just a waste of time. I'm surprised la ngibona ngikhulunywa ngama tablets. IT yonke le ntuzane. Is it part of our freedom? No, people. Because it does not promote unity in our diversity. It promotes something one language ukuthi special kudlula wonke la languages la. And lento le mele ifundo kuma public school mara ayenzeki. Recently manje ufuna ukufaka iswazi elontuzaneni asikwazi ukusifaka ngoba i-department ayikho. I-department kuthatha simple mangabe promote ama languages. Nala awabhalwanga ama languages. In other words, the South African Language Board, they don't take it serious. And manje sikhulumile nama SGB ukuthi sicela support. Even no mem sathalanda nama traditional leaders amathi awalanda kwaNdebele, amathi awalanda kuphi ukuthi eze azo support abantu. Ukuthi ne department ikwazi ukuthi lama languages lawo 9 African languages afunde kuma public schools. But the department isibekela phansi. And the rest of them all, njengoba ngibuya ngapha eDavidton, isikolo sokuqala uTata uMadiba makaphuma ejele. In his early years before by state president, wasivule eDavidton Holy Hlahla. Nge-13 zaka April 1992. So manje leso sikolo lesi we are fighting for years ukuthi si recognize as a historical school. But iPen South African is supportile, ama SGB support. Mara the only one body esingakayiboni that never come on board is
30
Department of
seconds, ma'am.
Education. So I don't understand ukuthi when you come to this situation, it's all about ama tablets nama IT alimaza abantwana bagcine bangasaboni emehlweni. Bafike ema secondary le sebafaka ama specs. I don't understand people ukuthi is it the creation of a health hazard na? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. Okay. Next speaker. If you can just introduce yourself, your name and your surname, and which organization you're representing. And you got 3 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Meshach Mchibedi is my name from Citibank, from National Association of School Governing Bodies. I must hasten to indicate that I'm a #1 supporter of ICT in our schools. And I'm saying that the department is on the right track. And I really appreciate that because life, really indeed, life is changing time and again. So it's important that we take our children into confidence in relation to the usage of ICT. However, there is one of the school in Ward 25 called Ramusukula. It doesn't perform less than 80% on a yearly basis. And it continue to flourish is based in a rural area. But the connectivity part of ICT, it doesn't exist to that. And I want the department to really to look into the matter. And I'm specific. Ramusukula Secondary School in a farm area. Number two, based on a presentation, I wanted to check something because once we appreciate that the usage of ICT in our schools, there are challenges, and I want us to focus on these challenges. We are in Gauteng, and it's a well-known fact that majority of our municipality are underperforming, and thus affect the infrastructure. And without the infrastructure, the very same idea in relation to the ICT is being compromised. Now, I wanted to check the department. How are we going, together with us, how are you going to resolve the very same issue that I'm referring to? It also cascades to the safety and security of the very same e-learning items. How does the department is going to tackle that? Safe to indicate that I'm aware that in the High Court, the last time I checked, in the High Court, in whereby security companies took the department to court in relation to the security. Now, I wanted to check the progress, whether the High Court, whether the decision has been made or not. If not, what is the plan? If
30 seconds left.
come again.
30 seconds left.
Lastly, the procurement of food into our schools. The department should really change this thing of centralizing. We don't know the service providers that are serving our children with food. We need to tackle this thing. In fact, I demand a meeting with the department so that we tackle this thing. Thank you.
Sorry, before you leave, just your name and surname and which organization.
I
just for
said
record.
Mishak Tshilidzi, National Association of School Governing Bodies. Thank you.
Thank you. Right. Next speaker.
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Mdlalose, Chairperson, Sundown High School. Thank you very much. Pardon?
Sorry, can you just repeat that again? Which school?
Mr. Mdlalose from Sundown High School, Chairperson. The initiative, I must say, it's applaudable. Thank you so much for the great initiatives and indeed, even though there are challenges and they are noted, I think the previous speaker has touched on in terms of the safety thereof of these gadgets because they are stolen. I mean, so if you can come up with ways in ensuring that either do we work as a school, do we insure them, things like that, so that if they get stolen, then we are able to claim back because we're running at a loss. And when you request parents to buy the very gadgets that are stolen, it becomes a challenge. So we are always working at a loss. And also, secondly, to find out the implementation thereof in terms of now taking the ITC further. Like for an example, at school we don't have the smart boards, and I don't know what are the requirements. What is it that we are supposed to do to get the boards? If you can advise in that regard as to what do we need to do in order to get the smart boards. Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Mr. Leko Jolo from Pumbulun Secondary School. I stand here as one of the fans or the #1 supporter for ICT. However, I just want to find out to say, how does the bring your own device work? Which procedure to follow? Because it's so difficult to work with the people who are putting the content in order for them to assist you to put that digital content in your own gadget. So if we can get the clarity as to what is that we need to follow. Again, the second point that I'm...
If you could repeat that, please, I didn't get it.
Okay, the issue is about bring your own device. Yes, initiative to say, how does it work? What procedure do we need to follow? Because in most cases, it's difficult to convince the people who are putting the content in the learner's gadget to put in your own personal gadget. So number two is with regard to the full ICT schools. I'm from one of the full ICT schools which we are the part of the 6+2. Till today, we only have 15 smart classrooms. I heard the acting HOD spoke about the issue of breathing dust as something of the past. I'm from the full ICT school, but we are still breathing the dust. So I want to know what is the progress so far. And then the acting HOD, we are still waiting for a proper building at Pumulon Secondary School before I retire. So we want to see the change. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next speaker.
Good afternoon, colleagues and leadership. My name is Nico Matsile. I'm from Tebokhwane School of Specialization. I'm the principal of the school. My question is based on the issue of connectivity. The GBN, Learn and When. I just want to find out from especially the information based on the presentations there. Are we getting a commitment from the leadership that we will be getting free connectivity in our admin blocks? Because that's the part that has been giving us challenges in the classrooms, particularly the grade 12 classes, now that we are relying on online lessons and the entire area around the school premises. And the reason why I'm asking this question is because we have been having challenges with this connectivity to an extent that schools would use schools' budget to outsource the additional connectivity. And that to a certain extent would put a strain on our budget. Isn't it advisable that as we draw our budget come the end of this year, we at least redirect these funds to other areas of need? So if next year we are getting a commitment from your good selves that we should not invest in such connectivity gadgets, then we would get a commitment and be sure that next year we will have a rollout that is uninterrupted. I hope my question is understood. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next speaker.
Dumelang bagolo. Le kae? Re teng. Ka lebitso ke nna o Ntiretse Ganabo. I'm from Zerbekom Primary School. My questions are just to Comrade Chairperson. I just wanted to get the statistics of cases reported since the SIP program has started. For example, the damages to infrastructure in different schools around our townships. The second one, if it's possible, the department to please provide us with list of schools that has benefited from the SIP program. I thank you.
Thank you very much. Next speaker.
Sanibonani. Igama lami
Sorry, sibakhombile laba ngapha emuva ne? Oh,
Ngicubeke chairman. Ngicubeke chair. Okay, igama lami nguSibusiso wakaKhumalo. I'm from the organization called Rand West City Stakeholders Forum. So mina in fact ngiyayizwa this program it is good, but however I've got some few questions because government wethu is good on implementing, but on monitoring government akasingeni, of which lonto leyo at the end of the day ishiya thina in a problem. And then futhi ngifuna ukwazi nge-issue of security esikolweni, because we all know ukuthi government wethu akanawo ama-security, basebenzisa amasilimalayo in Gauteng especially aphezulu. So ngifuna ukwazi nje on those things ukuthi i-security ingabe isharp na for ama-gadget ukuthi angantshontshiwe. Then i-infrastructure, because some of the schools here in Gauteng zine lack of infrastructure. So mase nje ngithole nje lokho ngaba sharp. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next speaker.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much, Chairperson, and good afternoon, committee, and all members present. Just 3 questions. I'll try and keep it to 1 minute a question. The first is Roger Hartnick from Centurion Primary School on the SGB. And the first is that, is there some sort of rebate already available or that can be made available for schools that take initiative to implement ICT? For example, what we do in our school, we are self-provisioned internet connective school. But the costs are increasing year on year and the fee paying parents are decreasing. So it's difficult to keep up with the maintenance costs of ICT. So I think a rebate, if available, if we could know about, or that can be introduced for us to continue these ICT initiatives. The second is grade 7s. Our grade 7s primary school, they have laptops. You know, but when I get home, my daughter in grade R, she's already operating my laptop. I see grades 8 and so on there, but is there any plans to start introducing it, you know, from lower grades, grade R on up to 7? And then the last one is, if you're in a school and you're in a struggling school and you're in the SGB, there's a lot of admin, there's a lot of paperwork. And so how can we reduce the burden of paperwork in the schools, even to the point of assessments? So are there plans in place to get to a stage where we do, you know, online assessments and nothing is on paper anymore in terms of assessments, even, you know, at a small scale to start with and then move to full assessments being done with technology? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Last speaker.
Thank you very much. Good evening, colleagues. Good afternoon, colleagues. My name is Ndicheni Gomura. I'm the Section 17 Chair for Lindest and Bovey Primary. My questions are two. I just want to understand from the department, while it's busy digitizing the schools, what role do they think parents will play? Because it's very thin in terms of the roles that parents, being the custodians of those kids or of the children, will play in supporting the program. And secondly, what is the department's play, the plan around out-of-school youth? What role do you think they can play in supporting the digitization of schools? So I just want to know from you guys, what do you think youth, out-of-school youth, what role would they play? And secondly, what role, while we're giving kids tablets to work with, what role do you think parents will play in supporting their education? Thank you very much.
Maybe before we hand over to the HOD and the Chief Director, it is important that to note that the Chief Director made a disclaimer that there will be some of the schools that have not yet received some of the connectivity or some of the smart solution and tablets and so forth. He said it. But let me allow him to reply. Let me start with the HOD, because some are demanding some of the school from Pumulong, I'm sure, even if it's not part of the presentation, is something that we need to respectfully answer the question, because we are respecting this community. All the question, Mrs. Pendu, HOD, aqale ngale yasephumulong ngathi ibalulekile. Uyasifuna isikole umhlekazi.
Chairperson, thank you very much. I would like the Chief Director maybe to start responding to the specific questions on ICT, and then I'll sweep on any other outstanding question from his side, Chairperson.
Nezwile uzawuswipha u-HOD. Chief Director.
No, thanks, Chair. Yes, usually brooms are tall, so I don't understand when the HOD says he will sleep, how is he going to do it? In Tademoke, there are 36 farm schools that are participating in the program. 36 farm schools that are participating in the program. I think the conversion of 100% schools is a process that needs to be given its context. The first thing is that you would know that a 100% performing school is converted into a fully fledged brick and mortar school, and it's a process that takes time. Your school seeks to benefit out of that, but quite rightly, the point that you're making is that it's difficult for government to invest on privately owned land. But that school is in process to be the benefit of that program. There are specific programs. You saw when I was presenting, there were 4 areas of teacher development that that are part of an intervention that Matthew Goniwe, together with our teacher development unit, carry out. One of them is around ICT, your very basic ICT skills to navigate a computer, navigate a laptop, tablet, and so forth, know where what is. One of those pillars seeks to deal with that. So if there's an issue around this intervention reaching you, we can look into that. Ramusukula and Mishak, I take the point around connectivity issues. You see, the challenges that we have with regards to ICT infrastructure as a whole is that it gets vandalized. We bring in ICT infrastructure in schools. A week or 2 later, it gets vandalized. Now, the time it takes for us to come back and fix that ICT infrastructure takes time because we don't have endless resources. There are interventions that we have put in place, and I know I'm responding to one of the latter questions. There are interventions that we have put in place. For instance, if you had been following one of the cases that we have brought against people that are stealing devices into our schools is that several of them are sitting in jail currently. There was a syndicate, and this needs to be told public. There was a syndicate that was running the business of stealing infrastructure in schools that ultimately, together working with the police and the tracking company that we use, we track these devices. The tracking company that we use, they were able to arrest them, and several of these cases are still ongoing. But the safety of general infrastructure in our schools is indeed an issue that we are trying to grapple with, not only on the ICT side, but broadly. The issue around the safety of devices sent down, we have responded to it. Before we roll out, we give these devices to learners specifically. Parents sign consent forms. And we have instances where parents are reluctant to sign these consent forms because they are afraid learners will lose these devices. But we engage with parents on an ongoing basis before we hand the devices to learners in our onboarding sessions. That parents come to the school, let's sit down, let's meet. Here are the devices that are going to assist your children to learn in the classroom and at home. Assist us to make sure that these devices are looked after and are secured. But there's a huge role that parents should play. There are responsible parents, for instance, who have approached us when some of their kids lost the device and say, look, my child has lost this device. I am willing to replace it at my own cost. What is the process that I need to follow to make sure that my child does this? So we require far much higher parental involvement in these things. With regards to the bring your own devices, we indicated in the presentation earlier on that we provide you with a learner, my SDLR. So it's a content platform. So if you come to school with your devices, we will be able to create login details for your child who will be able to access the supplementary content that we provide on my SDLR at their own time. We connect the school in totality. We connect classrooms, we connect the admin block. So we connect schools in totality. So what we do, we move into the school, do an assessment, draw diagrams that would tell us where the actual APN points would be, so that we have got broad coverage in the school, inclusive of playing grounds. Siso raised the school safety issue that we have responded to. Out of school youth, there's a program, unfortunately we don't do it, we benefit from it. one of these programs is the PYEI. There are youth that is deployed to schools to assist us to run the program. One. Secondly, a private telecommunication company in the country has also offered some of their intents to come and assist us with managing the program. Schools where these youth have been deployed will attest to this, that you've got, as part of the PYEI and some of the private initiatives that we are beginning to see coming into our schools to assist us with, they are called e-cadres, to assist us with running these programs. Chair, I hope I've answered all the questions. Those that I have missed.
The rest of,
Yes.
of three,
Thanks.
3 minutes is left for the HOD.
Thank you, Chairperson. Are you giving me 3 minutes? Are you giving me?
Please, you may proceed.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Thanks, Dati Mohorosh, for the response. I'll be responding in general to cover mainly issues which have not been covered by the Chief Director, but also matters which may not have been covered under the ICT. When we've got community meetings like this, re leboha go utlwa ditletlebo le dillo tsa lona, gore re kgone go utlwelela le dilo tse le bona gore ga di ye mo presentation ya rona, jaaka dikolo tse di leng maratha tse le di raisitseng mo dipotsong tsa lona tse le di tlhagisitseng. Ke rata go bua yana gore ele ke buileng he ke bula tirelo eno, ke bua gore rona as a department, our vision is to get rid of the chalk and the duster. That's still our mission. It will move slowly given the fact that there are budget constraints. Fela, we are still committed for one day in this particular province, the chalk and the duster, as it has been committed by our MECs, that the chalk and the duster will vanish. We still commit to that. And ke rata gore mo province ya rona, in this province, we don't discriminate between township schools and farm schools. Farm schools are also housing bana ba rona, therefore re ka se ka nke bana ba farm school, therefore ra ba ignore re lebella ba township. Bana ba township ba farm schools le bona ke bana ba Gauteng. They deserve the services tsa bana ba Gauteng tse tshwantse re ba fe tsona. Ka jalo ga nka ke ra tla ra ba khafela go thoko ra re bona ga ba deserve ditirelo tsa rona re le puso ya Gauteng. Ba di deserve ditirelo tsa rona le bona re ba tlo ba bona gore ba tswele pele ba passe matric, ba kgone ho ya ko dithutong tse kgolwane, ba kgone contribute to the economic growth of this particular province. Ke rata modula stilo go tsena mo tabeng kgolo ya dikolo reisitsweng go reisitswe mabitso a dikolo di le 3 if ke di tshotse sentle. Ke rata go simolola ka ya ntlha ya Ramusukula. This school is a farm school, and being a farm school is also a mobile school. And being a mobile school, we also had a challenge.
So, sorry. We're not going to tolerate when the acting HOD give responses, then other people start their own meeting. That is disrespectful. You are not just disrespecting the acting HOD, you are disrespecting all these community leaders and members that are here, and also the agenda of the portfolio committee. Re kopa gore tswetswe le ke le thule lo tlo gore acting HOD ya rona o re awa o responda ko ntunga no a re bereke bjalo. We have a structured meeting. Get translation. Oh, a translation are no itloela ba gaiso. Ke kope tshware. No. I apologize. I itloele translation it translate. I thought they are bua mo morago mo. Oh, le discipline ha go sorry. Chief. Please, I disrupted your good flow.
Oh, no problem. Ha ona mathata tatana. Ere ke tswele pele ke ntse ke bua ka sekolo se sa Ramusukula, gore ke farm school, ke mobile school, And mobiles in this particular province, Chairperson, Honorable Chairperson Leba Gaetso, Baba Tlhompega, ke a temporary solution. Re dirang gore re kgone go to provide for our learners on a temporary basis. Our ideal solution in terms of provision of schooling, learning and teaching is brick and mortar. That's the ideal. But in certain situations, we are compelled by circumstances, by time, and by pressure to ensure that we can accommodate our learners by providing mobile classrooms. Therefore, Ramsukula is not an ideal school because a mobile school, but being in a farm school does not necessarily qualify to be discriminated, and it shall never be discriminated under this government. I also want to raise the issue of the challenge ya road servitude into the school. And that particular challenge is within our radar. And what is the solution? We also challenge ya vandalism. Baba Julang, how feel mo committing elo la itor school sile sara tafazio. Committee ya rona ba switsa dilo ba tsena ba roba ba senya mo. And re rata gore he re bua ka vandalism yana re dikolo tse re na re le lefapha la thuto mo Gauteng re leka o di lokisa re leka o di aga le mobile school re leka o etsa gore mobile e nne hantle fela di mo matsong a lona le isireletse di nne protected without being vandalized by batho ba tswang ko ntle or some of batho ba dulang within our communities pass now the vision ya gore if you vandalize a school you are killing the future of the African child. We have planned major upgrades in this particular school. That's the way forward. And that upgrade will also ensure, as we upgrade schools, we also ensure that issues of connectivity to support ICT are also resolved. And I must announce here, Chairperson, that this particular school is part and parcel of budget allocation for 2024-2025 allocations. Therefore, it will get those major upgrades in 2024-2025 financial year. And 2024-25 financial year is similar from the 1st of April. Therefore, from the 1st of April, you'll start seeing some movement in terms of upgrading and that particular school to ensure that it's at the relevant or acceptable levels of operation. Ke rata o tsaya sekolo sa Rasurt se se boletsweng fano le sona. Sekolo seno bothata ba sona ke gore se mo private land. He se le mo private land o agile sekolo mo farmong ya ka or mo polaseng ya ka or mo steneng sa ka. You are there at my mercy. And in some cases, government is forced to pay lease agreement. But any development or any further construction or erection of classrooms in that particular land can only be done when the owner has agreed. But also the National Treasury, our government, is worried about us spending money on a private land because anytime if you build a room or a house on a plot, that house, where does it go? It's part of my investment and government loses money. That's why we're saying renovations, but renovations they are manageable and they are not so costly so that even one day when the owner says go away, it's not a lot of loss to the state. But the ideal situation is to ensure that we buy that land. But buying, normally you can only buy if there's a willing seller. If the owner does not want to sell, you are there in perpetuity renting and making investment for him. But we are dealing with that particular issue to ensure that ultimately this particular school can be refurbished. I must put on record, Chairperson and honorable members, that this school, Old, is one of the well-performing schools in our province. Therefore, it qualifies for it to be upgraded and also to be considered for ICT. But this thing of being located in a private land, it's a challenge. The last school, Chairperson, without wasting your time, I know I may be talking too much, Chairperson, but Phomolong. It's a mobile school. It's a school settling on the list here, our Department of Infrastructure Development for replacement. And the issue here, this particular school, is the site only moyona. We call it the site condition challenges. And those challenges, the DID replacement program is simple yalo. But I also want to indicate that this particular school, being a mobile school, is also part and parcel of what we call replacement program of the DID department, which means that it's also part of the plan to be replaced with the brick and mortar school, as I indicated. But the good thing is that even if there's a delay in replacing this mobile classrooms in this school through a brick and mortar, National Treasury, through some kind of a grant or donation, have committed to build additional brick and mortar classrooms in that particular school in 2024 to ensure that they alleviate pressure, one of accommodation, also to replace some of the mobile classrooms in that particular school. Chairperson, I don't want to take long. I know that Mukhoroshi spoke about connectivity issues, which I think they were well received, and all the other matters. But as a last statement, as an acting HO of the department, ke kopa bagaetsho ba nne le kutlwelo botlhoko le patience as the department moves in ensuring that our infrastructure is provided to our communities. Rome was not built in one day. We take one step at a time, but we shall together achieve. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you. Re kopa hore re shapele matsoho, HOD le department le chief direct. Re leboge, acting HOD chief director. And now is the opportunity for esteemed Honorable Dos Santos to give vote of thanks.
Thank you very much, Chair. Just want to start off by thanking all of the stakeholders that joined us today. Without you, we wouldn't be here, and you are the most important stakeholders that we have. Also, thank you to the HOD and everyone else from the department. I think we all agree that ICT in the fourth industrial revolution is very, very important, and it's important that our children that are growing up within the fourth industrial revolution is well equipped and well educated in this field. And already scholars are talking about that we're slowly moving into the fifth industrial revolution already. So it is quite important that our children and our learners are well equipped. Otherwise, thank you very much. I think it's been quite productive, some very good questions and remarks. Thank you.
Matsoho. On behalf of the Portfolio Committee on Education, we want to thank you very much, because muso wa Gauteng ko muso wa batho wa setšhaba. So re a leboga gagolo gore le kgonne o tla mo meeting wa rona. Hi tira swin'we, hi khomana hi maboko. Yeah. Yeah, tonana ni re bana ba ina. So re tla tsamaya ka kgoso he. Re a leboga. Meeting stand adjourned.